Asked the jury to acquit Sean Diddy Combs of all of the charges and to send him home to his family.
The high-profile trial of Sean Diddy Combs has gripped public attention, drawing crowds to New York City's courthouse, where the main courtroom and multiple overflow rooms were packed with media, spectators, and curious onlookers. The atmosphere was electric, with every seat filled and anticipation palpable as the defense and prosecution presented their arguments. On the day Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's attorney, delivered his closing remarks, urging the jury to acquit his client of all charges and allow him to return to his family, one of the overflow rooms erupted in cheers. This reaction underscored the polarized sentiments surrounding the case, with some viewing it as a spectacle rather than a pursuit of justice. The trial, which initially seemed poised to expose serious criminal activity, has taken unexpected turns, leaving many questioning whether it was ever intended to hold Diddy accountable or if it was, as some claim, a carefully orchestrated humiliation ritual. That Diddy used these recordings as leverage, holding them as collateral to ensure the silence and compliance of his victims. Beyond physical coercion, he was accused of exerting control over victims' lives by promising career opportunities, controlling their finances, dictating their appearances, monitoring their medical records, and even deciding where they lived. Among the most shocking accusations were claims of violent crimes. Prosecutors alleged that in December 2011, Diddy and an unidentified co-conspirator kidnapped someone at gunpoint to facilitate a break-in at another person's home. 2 weeks later, Diddy was accused of setting fire to a vehicle by cutting open its convertible top and dropping in a Molotov cocktail. These allegations suggested a man willing to go to extreme lengths to maintain control and settle scores. Additionally, the prosecution claimed that as the threat of criminal charges loomed, Diddy and his associates engaged in a campaign to silence witnesses and victims through bribes and fabricated narratives, further obstructing justice. Yet despite the gravity of these charges, the trial's trajectory has raised eyebrows. Many expected the prosecution to focus heavily on the racketeering RICO charges, which form the backbone of the case. But instead, the proceedings seemed to dwell on Diddy's personal life and alleged freaky lifestyle. Weeks were spent detailing salacious aspects of his behavior, which, while shocking, appeared to overshadow the more serious criminal allegations. Then, in a stunning development, prosecutors filed a letter to the court requesting the dismissal of 3 of the 5 federal counts against Diddy, including significant portions of the racketeering conspiracy charges. They claimed this was to streamline the case and focus on the sex trafficking and transportation for prostitution charges. However, this move has sparked widespread skepticism, with some, including activist Jaguar Wright, arguing that it signals an intent to let Diddy walk free. Jaguar Wright, a vocal figure in the case, has been unrelenting in her criticism of the prosecution. She contends that the entire trial was a farce, designed not to secure justice, but to publicly humiliate Diddy as a warning from more powerful figures in the industry. Wright, who was present on the first day of the trial, initially believed it could mark a reckoning for the music industry. She has long claimed to have gathered extensive information on Diddy's activities, communicating with both victims and federal authorities. Her frustration peaked when she learned of the dropped charges, accusing the prosecution of betraying victims and wasting everyone's time. Wright has been particularly vocal about the need for Diddy to face public accountability, specifically demanding a perp walk, a public display of an arrested suspect in handcuffs, typically from the police station to a vehicle or courthouse. She argues that such an image, plastered across media outlets, would signal to victims that it's safe to come forward and send a message to Diddy's alleged partners in the industry. Without this, she believes the trial's impact will be minimal, allowing Diddy to escape true consequences. The prosecution's decision to drop charges has emboldened Diddy's defense team, who are now pushing to have the remaining counts dismissed. Attorney Alex Shapiro has aggressively challenged key allegations, particularly those involving Diddy's former assistant, Capricorn Clark. Clark testified that after Diddy discovered she was helping his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura secretly meet with rapper Kid Cudi, she was abducted by unknown men, taken to an unfinished building, and subjected to a lie detector test for 5 days. Shapiro argued that there is no concrete evidence linking Diddy to this incident, and Clark herself could not definitively confirm his involvement. Similarly, the defense addressed the claim that Diddy was behind the arson attack on Kid Cudi's car, which was destroyed with a Molotov cocktail. Shapiro pointed out that Kid Cudi testified that when he confronted Diddy, the mogul denied any involvement, and no direct evidence has been presented to contradict this. The defense's strategy has been to cast doubt on the prosecution's case, framing the allegations as circumstantial and lacking hard proof. This approach appears to be gaining traction, as the prosecution has not counted as forcefully as expected. Instead of doubling down on the RICO charges, they have seemingly retreated, leaving observers to wonder if they ever intended to secure a conviction. The trial's focus on Diddy's personal life, particularly his relationship with Cassie Ventura, has further complicated the narrative. Cassie, who was pregnant during her testimony, was a central figure in the case, with prosecutors alleging she was a victim of Diddy's coercion and abuse. However, in a controversial move during closing arguments, Diddy's attorney suggested that Cassie was a willing participant in the so-called freak-offs, describing her as someone who engaged in their sexual activities of her own volition. This claim, which many found inflammatory, added to the perception that the trial was more about spectacle than justice, dragging Cassie's name through the mud while deflecting from the core criminal allegations. Public reaction to these developments has been mixed, with social media reflecting a range of emotions from outrage to cynicism. One commenter expressed disbelief that the case was ever meant to lead to a conviction, suggesting it was orchestrated to destroy Diddy's career and reputation, a mission they believe has been accomplished. Another voiced frustration over the kidnapping allegations involving Capricorn Clark, calling Diddy a demon and hoping he would not escape accountability. The dropping of charges has fueled speculation that the prosecution is intentionally dismantling the case, possibly under pressure from powerful figures in the industry who, according to Wright, want to prevent Diddy from exposing their involvement. The trial's outcome remains uncertain, but its impact on public perception is undeniable. For some, it has highlighted systemic issues in the music industry, where power dynamics and influence can shield individuals from accountability. Jaguar Wright, for instance, sees it as a missed opportunity for a broader reckoning, one that could have exposed not just Diddy's alleged crimes, but the complicity of others. Her call for a perp walk reflects a desire for symbolic justice, an image of Diddy in handcuffs that would resonate beyond the courtroom. Yet, as the prosecution's case weakens, this seems increasingly unlikely. The trial has also raised questions about the treatment of victims and witnesses. Cassie's testimony, in particular, has been a focal point, with many criticizing the prosecution for putting her through the ordeal of testifying only to seemingly abandon the case. The allegations against Diddy painted a chilling picture of control and manipulation, yet the defense's narrative has sought to reframe these as consensual relationships, further complicating the public's understanding of the case. For victims like Capricorn Clark, whose allegations of kidnapping were dismissed as unproven, the trial may feel like a betrayal, reinforcing the difficulty of seeking justice against powerful figures. As the case nears its conclusion, the possibility of Diddy walking free has sparked debate about the legal system's ability to hold influential individuals accountable. The prosecution's decision to drop charges, combined with the defense's aggressive tactics, suggests that the case may indeed be washing down to nothing, as some have claimed. Whether this was the result of prosecutorial missteps, external pressures, or a deliberate strategy to humiliate rather than convict, the outcome has left many feeling that justice has been sidelined. For now, the public awaits the final verdict, but the trial's legacy may be one of frustration and unanswered questions, with Diddy's fate hanging in the balance and the industry watching closely.